I think the biggest mistake people make with financial independence is assuming that everyone in corporate needs to chase it the same way, and I genuinely don't think so that's true. Over the years, I've noticed that people fall into one of the four different groups, and whether early financial independence makes sense for you depends upon which group you fall under. I feel most people don't sit down and reflect on that. They just follow some YouTube video or some Reddit post telling them to chase 25 times of your annual expense, 30 times of your annual expense, and they never really stop and ask that why are they chasing a specific number? What is the reason to do so? So let's try to understand this by understanding these four groups in more detail. And in the process, we'll try to figure out who needs to go faster versus who can afford to slow down a little bit while chasing financial independence. If you're new here, my name is Shubham. I work in the field of data analytics. I'm based out of Bay Area. And this channel is me documenting my journey towards financial independence while I'm still in middle of it. Let's get into it. Let's start with the first group. First group is what I call people who are building things steadily. These are the people who genuinely enjoy their work. They don't dread Mondays. They're in the right field. They're just doing what they don't mind doing day in and day out. Now, here's the part that this group tend to miss. Loving your job doesn't mean the job loves you back or the industry loves you back. I'll share an example over here. I know a former colleague of mine, he's been in the industry for a while, in his late 40s, but never really thought about that the job could go away one day. And just a couple of years back, it did. Now, it's a very tough situation to be in because finding another leadership position took him a little longer than what he expected. And when you are in that situation, a lot of people have to take pay cuts. You have to go a few levels down than you were working earlier. You might not find leadership positions anymore. And I see a lot of people actually moving to IC roles because of that. Now, that's not a rare thing to happen. If you think about all the tech layoffs in the past couple of years and add AI to that mix, then the picture gets clear very fast that you can genuinely love your work, but the industry might not love you back. So even if you're investing consistently, don't assume that 60 is your retirement age by default. It could come earlier than that and not always by choice. Even Microsoft, which most people think of a very ultra stable tech company, offered its first ever voluntary retirement program this year to thousands of its employees to leave the job early. Now, it was called voluntary but sends a very, very clear message. In fact, survey shows 40% of retirees exit earlier than they planned for the reasons that were outside their control. So even for this group, financial independence is very important. Not so that you can retire early, but you're not caught off guard in case something like this happens in future and the job doesn't last as long as you expected. So if this is you, you don't need to obsess over some early retirement number. Keep doing what you're doing, just increase your investments if your income goes up and just stay invested in the market and don't assume that the job is going to last up until 60. This was about the first group. Let's talk about the second group, the quiet risk one. Okay, let's try to understand this group a little bit. A lot of people I know are earning really, really well, and they also love the work that they're doing. But at the same time, their lifestyle has quietly matched up with their income step by step. Bigger house, nicer car, fancier vacations, something keeps coming up along with their income raises. Now, the dangerous part is that nothing feels wrong today. Your job is doing fine, the income is coming in, and it doesn't look like there's any urgency to look at this closely. And that's how exactly someone ends up earning well even for a decade and then not having even enough buffer to survive for a few months if something bad happens. The AI anxiety in the last couple of years, I feel, has shook some of these people, and many of them are now more grateful. And in a strange way, that's been a good thing as some of them have started to save more. Now, even though it's a good thing, but I still feel fear should not be a reason to start saving. So for this group, it's really important to figure out what really matters for you. What are the things that gives you fulfillment? So the habit of saving still stays even when this fear goes away. You have to understand what are your expenses, what is your savings rate, and the lifestyle should not keep creeping up with your income increases. Alright, let's move to the third category, and these are people who are seeking options. I would put myself into this category as well. Now, it's not like that I dislike analytics. In fact, I enjoy working with data, everything to do with data in terms of building pipelines, doing analytics, doing storytelling, presenting it to the audience. In fact, I still invest time to sharpen my skills, and that's the part I actually enjoy. Now, what's actually missing for me isn't the field, it's the structure around it. It's more of a system problem than anything else. Say, for example, if I don't want to work on a particular Monday or Tuesday, I'll rather work on Saturday or Sunday. Now, that kind of flexibility is something that's missing in a corporate setup. Now, because of that, the goal for this group is not to escape the work tomorrow or quit tomorrow. It's eventually to get to a point where I have the option to choose on my own terms. Corporate is not the only option I have. In reality, that looks like building something while you're still working, which is honestly what I'm doing right now with these videos. Now, this could be teaching people what you have learned in your experience, or consulting instead of full time, which would give you more flexibility. So these are the opportunities that I see ahead of me, and I'll likely keep continuing working in the same direction, just with more flexibility and options. Okay, let's talk about the fourth group of people. These are people who are trying to escape the work. Now, these are people who are really burned out. Bad manager, bad culture, they're in the wrong field, or they have too much on their plate. And the instinct almost always stays the same, that if I quit tomorrow, everything would be fine. In fact, a recent survey shows that 85% of the people reported dealing with a burnout in the past year, and this hits millennials and Gen Z the most. So if this feels similar, you are genuinely not the only one dealing with it. So for this group, it is really important to sit back and find out what the actual problem is. Is it a bad manager? Is it a bad culture? Are you in the wrong field or the wrong company or in the wrong team? You really need to figure out the reason. If you can fix one thing that's identifiable, then that's much more useful than thinking that escaping the work would solve everything. Being in this kind of situation is more like being in a very vicious circle. You're overworked, so you don't have the bandwidth to think clearly. Now, because of this, budgeting goes out for a toss. You're not staying fit, you're not spending time with your loved ones, and your mental health gets impacted really badly. So it's just not your financial health, your physical health, your mental health quietly worsens along with it. Now, on the finance side, some of the people cope up by spending more. Some would go in a completely opposite direction, chasing fire by being super frugal, by not enjoying that money that they're earning, and thinking that escaping the work is the only way out. Now, I understand that some people are genuinely stuck. Some people can't take a pay cut because they have a family to support, and I'm not dismissing those cases. But for a lot of other people, this problem is actually solvable. Now, Viktor Frankl wrote about this in Man's Search for Meaning, that people don't actually need an easy life. They need a reason, something worth working towards. So quitting without a reason just puts you from one emptiness to another. So those were the 4 types I wanted to discuss. If you're still watching this video, then I really want you to ask a few questions. When Monday comes, how do you feel about that? If your income were to stop tomorrow, how many months can you realistically survive? If money wasn't a factor, would you still be doing what you're actually doing? So sit with those questions for a while and think about which of the 4 group you are in. Now, none of these are permanent labels. Somebody who wants to escape the workplace could become an optionality seeker if they could just change jobs, change their manager, or be in the right field. So the real question is never, should I pursue fire? It should be, what problem you're trying to solve. Because escaping a job you don't like doesn't automatically turn into a life that you like. The mind still needs a structure. It still needs a reason to get up in the morning. So before you chase a number, try to figure out which one of these 4 you are, because that's the question most people miss. Okay, that's it for this video. If this gave you a new perspective, then please subscribe to my channel. It would really mean a lot. Until then, I'll see you next time.